Hello, welcome to Viscount Leisure. I'm Charles. Let's take you on a tutorial video around your Pastiche here, just so we know how it all works, how everything connects to it and what we need to do to make it work really. So we'll start on our way into the caravan here. That's our habitation door. All right, you can see it's clipped back here at the moment, stops it moving around in the wind. To release, we have a lever here we push and that will allow the door to shut. Okay, simple as that. When we're inside the caravan and we want to lock it, we push the handle up to the red dot. Okay, that will lock it so no one can come in from the outside. And when we're inside and we want to open the door, we push it down just like a normal door handle and that will open the door. Fixed pane window here with the blackout blinds, so when we want to black out the cabin at night time we can do. Obviously our bin is also situated on the door here as well. Moving on around, we have two vents here. These are for our fridge. We have a three-way fridge on board, okay? Nothing you need to do with these, but just so that you know what they are. The fridge uses heat to cool, so it's going to pull the cold air in from the bottom, and it's going to pull the hot air in, pump the hot air from the inside out from here. That's nice and warm. We've got the fridge running in there, so we know that's working as it should do. Motor mover in front of the wheel there, that helps move our caravan when we are not attached to our car. We'll have a look at that at the end. External gas barbecue point here, so we can attach a gas barbecue point, gas barbecue to our van without having to remove any gas bottles. The tap we turn in line, okay, and that will turn the gas on, okay, and then when it's across, that is the gas off. In your book pack, you'll find a small brass bayonet fitting that will clip into here and attach to your gas pipe on your barbecue. You leave that in there and then just plug it in and take it out as you wish to. All right, to release it, we have a collar here. We push that collar up, okay, and that will release your brass fitting from inside there. Okay, we have a wet locker here, all right, so we can put wet stuff in here. It's fully sealed, all right, so if you have to put anything that off the floor, leads and things like that, is a good place for them to go in here. We also have our external 240 volt power socket here, so that's a domestic 3-pin power socket, so we can power stuff outside our van or in our awning or whatever we want to do. We have a little cutout here as well, so we can run that through and shut the door of this without it sort of staying open all the time. Okay, just bear in mind though, of course, you only have access to that domestic power socket when you are plugged into your mains, all right, and not when you're wild camping and things like that, because as I say, it is a 240 volt socket. You can see we've got 4 corner steadies on this van, all right, as you would on most caravans, 1 on each corner. These are corner steadies, they are not levelers, all right, so we do not want to be leveling our van on these corner steadies. We want to level our van on our jockey wheel at the front there by winding it up and down, okay, and that will allow us to level the van front to back, and then we would use leveling wedges on either wheel to level left to right, okay. Once we're level, okay, and we can use a spirit level for that, either on the A-frame or just inside your door or whatever you want to do. Once we are level, it's then we can wind down our corner steadies to stop the van bouncing around when we're inside it. You'll see you have these 4 nuts all the way around, okay, and that is how we can wind them down. You do have a manual winder in your front locker here. However, you can buy drill attachments, okay, to do it. That's what we do, just makes life a little bit easier when we're putting down our steadies. But again, as I say, don't try and level with the steadies because you will damage A, the steadies, B, the bottom of your van, all right? Okay, coming around to the front here, we have our gas locker depicted by our LPG sticker on the front, okay? What that means is this is where we must keep our gas bottles, and this is where it is designed to take our gas bottles as well. You can see here we've got our test gas bottle on here, okay, so we're set up for propane. We have a propane hose coming out of our bulkhead regulator up the top here. This is what makes the working pressure correct for the van, all right. So we have our pigtail or our gas hose coming out of here. This goes into our bottle on a screw fitting, okay, on an opposite thread. So it's not lefty loosey, righty tighty, the other way round, okay. So we tighten that up. It's a hand tight wheel, no need for any spanners on this one, all right. So to have it nice and tight, just nip it out with your hands and that will do the job. When we're traveling, we must make sure that our gas bottles are strapped in. There are straps for that, and also in their cradles as well, okay. And when we're traveling, we must make sure our gas bottles are also switched off. So we just screw it down to close the bottle, but when we get to site, we open it up, and that will allow the gas flow to come through. We also have some waste pipe here. I'll show you where that goes, and your hitch cover is also in there. We'll do a full hitch up with you when you pick the van up, so don't worry too much about all this at the moment. Couple of things you need to know though, we are running on 13 pin electrics here, okay, so that will provide you with your lights and your 12-volt system inside when you're traveling. If you don't have a 13 pin, there are adapters available, so I wouldn't panic too much. Also, we have an Alco hitch head stabilizer here, so you do need to make sure your tow ball is an Alco compatible one. If you need any help with understanding that, please do let us know. If you have an old tow ball that you've used before and it's greased up, you must be making sure we're removing all the grease off of that. This hitch head works with friction pads to stop it twitching around and snaking. Okay, it's an anti-snaking device, so we must make sure that is nice and clean and roughed up with some sandpaper to make it fully effective. All right, again, the same thing if it's a new tow ball, we want to make sure we're sanding the paint off the top of that. Again, it doesn't like a smooth surface, we need bare metal to make that work efficiently. All right. Coming around, we do have our gas or our boiler flue here. We have an Aldi boiler on here, which runs our wet central heating system and also our hot water as well. Very much like at home when you need to exhaust the gases, when you're running it on gas, that's where it will come out with. Again, nothing you need to worry about. I just want to make sure we're not covering that up. Obviously, we want water coming into our van, so I've got my test aqua roll here, so you'll need one of these to make your van work properly. And here's your water pump. You'll find this in the front locker with yourself as well. Okay, so we take this, fill it up with water at our site, roll it back to our van, and then we're going to drop the pipe into the bottom of the van and then plug this into the side. We do want to make sure we're doing it that way round, okay, so we don't want to be pulling this out because it's quite a rigid piece of pipe and we can quite easily split the top here. All right, so when we're doing it, you want to be removing this, dropping the pickup into the bottom and then plugging it in. Okay, then we're ready to start pumping water around the van, so we'll have a look at that when we are inside. Right, this is from our power point of view. 2 types of power running this van. 12 volt comes from a 12 volt battery here, and mains power comes from our mains lead over here. Okay, so when we're off grid, our van will run purely off of this Leisure battery here. This is staying with the van because we do have a solar panel on board. Okay, so this will run your lights, your water pump, your fridge panel, things like that. Okay, and we'll make sure that we can use the van when we are off grid. The gas then will fill in where the other bits won't, so like your fridge, your cooker and everything will run off the gas, so we can work off grid whilst it's being trickle charged, of course, by our solar panel on the roof. If we are on site and we have access to mains power, we can plug a mains lead into our van, such as this one. All right, so you'll need one of these. This is my test lead I've got going on here. So what I've done is plug that in. That will allow us to have mains pressure coming into the van. All right, mains power coming into the van, so we can use the likes of our domestic plug sockets and things like that. We can also run our fridge, our hot water and heating system off the 240 volt as well. All right. Again, there's a cutout there, so we can shut this up and lock it away while that's plugged in as well. Just bear in mind, we do have a mains lead. If it comes on a drum and it's rolled up, you want to make sure you're taking that fully off the drum and having it flaked out, a little much like we have here. They do draw a lot of current, so if you've got them curled up in a ball or in a circle, I should say, they do get quite hot. You can end up melting the plastics and things like that. So flake it out, even if it's underneath the van. All right, so it doesn't look untidy, but don't have it all coiled up like some of our spare ones are here. You see, otherwise they can get very, very hot. Coming around the back, we have our where our toilet is. Okay, flush tank at the top. This is where you'll put your pink chemical and some water. That is purely for our flush tank only. All right, so that will just use the flush for the toilet. The reason for that, we don't want to be putting chemicals, of course, in our fresh water system. Once we flush the toilet, it's got to go somewhere. That's coming down into our toilet cassette down here. Depth of toilet cassette, when it's full, there's an indicator inside. I'll show you that when we're in there. We lift the handle up and the whole thing will just slide out. Okay, you can see it's on wheels and we have an extendable handle. Okay, so we can just wheel it to our service point on site when it comes to time to empty it. All right. So once we're there and we want to empty this, it's not as unpleasant as some people might think. All right, we put that into a 90-degree angle like so. Open the lid, okay, and there we go. We press this orange button here, that releases the air pressure inside the unit. It makes it nice and easy when we're coming to empty the unit itself. There'll be a hose pipe on site as well at your dedicated spot for emptying this, which is called the ensign point or your service point. Okay, I'll put a bit more water in here, give it a shake around, empty it out again. Before we recharge this with some blue chemical and a bit of water, again, you'll need that to break everything down inside. Okay, so just read the instructions on your blue chemical before you put it in, just to make sure that we're putting the right amount in. Okay. Also, just bear in mind, I would recommend only using sort of caravan toilet paper, if you will, because it just breaks down better and it'll make it far less unpleasant when you're having to empty your toilet cassette. That then goes straight back into there. Okay, locks into place, and we can close the door and lock it up. If you're struggling to pull this unit out, it means you haven't closed the gate properly inside on the toilet, and again, I'll show you that when we're inside. Back of the caravan, grab handles either side, obviously all of our lights here as well. Our number plate goes here, so you will need a number plate, of course, depicting the car that you will be towing with. Okay, that's pretty much it for the outside. All right, let's go have a look inside and see how we can start setting the van up ready for use. Right, in we come. We've had it running up overnight for a couple of days actually, this one. So the fridge is on, heating's on, hot water's on, but we'll go through the stages of what we'll do if we've just come to site. We've plugged our water in, we've turned our gas on, we've plugged our mains power in. All right, so we're all ready to go from that regard. What you'll then want to do is you'll need to purge your water system. So when you first get to site, you would have left your van empty last time you used it, so the boiler will be empty, all your taps should be open. We'll talk about that later. So first thing to do is come and make sure all of your taps are shut in your bathroom, okay, shower, everything. All right, then you need to be finding your boiler drain valves. Okay, they are situated under this cushion here, two of these yellow switches down the bottom. Okay, so we've got this one here. Okay, that's for our cold water leg, and this one here is for our hot water leg. All right, you can see that by the colour of the pipes. You can see they're in the, see if I can get a better angle on this. You can see it's in the downwards position at the moment. You will receive, when you get to your van, it'll be in the upwards position. You need to push those down so they're sitting in line with the pipe, like so. All right, that's then close those. Otherwise, when we start turning our water pump on, we'll just pump it from our barrel straight down and to the floor underneath our caravan. So we don't want to be doing that. Okay, so they're all down, all of our taps are shut, so we can now come to our main panel here. All right, so this is our main panel for the van. Really simple. Master switch up the top here, that will turn on our 12-volt system. Next one along with the red thing there is our water pump, so we can see that is on. Okay, this one here does our lights, so we can turn all the lights off in one go. If you're going out for the day, you don't want to find every individual light switch, we can do it from there. This one here does our warning light, which is just outside the van. Press this will tell us what our voltage our battery's at. Okay, so that's quite a useful little thing as well. Once we've done that, we've got that all running, we now need to purge our system. So all the boiler will be empty. Okay, so we want to fill that boiler up and get water to the tap on the hot leg. So what I'll do is I'll come to my tap. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. All right, on the hot side of it. Now I've already done this, of course, but what you will get is you'll get a lot of coughing and spluttering as it pushes all the air out. Okay, that water is going to come out of our barrel, it's going to fill up that whole boiler, then it's going to make its way to the tap and then come out. So they'll make some funny noises, gurgling, splashings, and a lot of spitting until you get a nice steady flow of water like that. Okay, then you know you've purged your hot leg. Do that in here, do it in the bathroom, do it in the shower. That way we've got no air in the system at all. Even if you're not going to be using a shower, I would suggest making sure we get all that air out of the system. Once we've done that, we want to do the same to our cold leg. This will be much quicker, all right, because obviously there's no boiler to fill up. So we'll turn that on. Again, bit of coughing and spluttering, but once we've got a steady flow, then we're happy with that. And again, we're going to do that in our bathroom. We're going to do that in our shower as well. Okay. Well, once that's done, we want to then start sort of turning the heating on, turning the hot water on and things like that. So we're going to come to our Aldi panel here. All right, in the sleep mode at the moment, it's telling me inside here 25 degrees. We are plugged into mains, so we've got access to mains power. All right, so we wake it up by pressing the menu button, and this gives us our main standby screen. Okay, really simple to use. Top one is our internal temperature of the van. All right, this is what the temperature we desire the van to be. Very much like your car, you just set it to a temperature, okay, and then let it do its thing, and it will keep it at that temperature. All right, next one down, picture of a shower. This is our hot water. Okay, so we've got three options on that. Off, with nothing in the triangle at all. On, okay, that will heat the water up to 60 degrees, okay, and just keep it going. And then we also have our boost setting as well, so that will then override the heating and just provide you with hot water. All its effort will go into making hot water. That's if you can have a couple of back-to-back showers or something like that. Okay, and that will do that for about 20 minutes, I think it is, and then it will just revert back to its normal setting. Then we need to talk about what power we want to use. Now we know we can go off grid, in which case we want to use gas. All right, so we will turn our electricity off, which is the one with the little lightning bolt there, and then we will just press the one with the flame. That will then light our boiler on gas, okay, and that will provide our heating hot water purely from the gas. But just bear in mind, keep an eye on your gas levels, all right, if you are going away for any kind of period of time. But if you're on a main site, okay, you've got mains power, we're going to come in here and we're going to either have 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts or 3 kilowatts of power, all right? Depending on what site we're on, you'll have access to different amounts of power, okay? Normally, they'll tell you, speak to your site warden or reception or look in the brochure and they will tell you kind of what the best settings are. But you'll soon understand if you're trying to use 3 kilowatts of power, running your kettle, your hairdryer, your hair straighteners, you're going to keep tripping out your fuse board. So you'll soon realise that you're trying to draw too much current and you'll come in here and turn it down. Obviously, the higher it is, the more efficient the heating will be, but just bear that in mind that you can change that there as well. Lots of other settings we can go into, like priorities and days and nights and timers. Not going to do that now. Your book pack, which is in your front drawer down there, there is an instruction manual on there if you wish to go any further. But the main thing is, what temperature is it? Is our hot water on, off, or is it on boost? Are we using electric or are we using gas? If we are using electric, how much are we using? Simple as that. Okay, so that's kind of it for all the heating and things like that. Let's have a quick look. Get that back in there now. Around the rest of the van. Okay, so we'll just open everything up, make sure that we don't miss anything. All right, so lots of cupboards. Here's your microwave. All right, I'm not going to teach you how to use a microwave. However, with this one, to wake it up, you press the eco button twice, that one there, and that will wake it up. It took me a while to figure that one out myself. You'll see no microwave plate in that is in your book pack in that drawer. Don't travel with the microwave plate in here. The amount of times we see them smash on the floor, just not worth it. All right, okay, nothing to speak of note in there. All right, we do have a 240 volt power socket here, TV socket, and a 12 volt socket there as well. All right, nice, lots of storage there as well. When it comes to the bed, I'm sure we know how to make the bed. All right, so these just pull together. All right, this one comes all the way out, all the way across, and then we use our back cushions there, turn everything over. All right, so we always sleep on the back side of this. All right, where it says sleep on this side, and we put these in the middle. I always turn these ones over and have the sort of the bolster that you've got here facing towards the window. That way we've got a nice flat surface going all the way across. All right. Okay, windows. Okay, they all work in the same way from having a look at them. We've got buttons here that we press in the middle of the bottom ones. Okay, and then we open to the desired openness, if that's the right word. Okay, and we've got these little screws here that we screw those up, and that will hold the window into place. All right. So and then slacken them off, and we can close it. There's also a breather setting on this as well, so we can lock the window by having it slightly open, just by moving it over one. All right, that's way we can still get some airflow around the van if we are if it's a hot day and we're leaving the van for any kind of period of time. All right, right, good. Light switches here. Okay, so that does our down lighters there. This one does our side lighters there, if you will. Another 240 volt socket here. Our stereo and speakers also up here on this shelf as well. On off button for this is quite simply the source button. Hold it down, he says. Right. There we go. Okay, and then to turn it on again, just press the source button again. All right. We've got a CD player, we've got an aux in as well. We've also got a USB there as well. Okay, so we can play CDs, listen to the radio, or plug our phones in if we wish to. Individual reading lights here, okay, and they're all individually switched. Another light switch here, which does our side lighters there. Okay, windows we know about. TV aerial is in here. Okay, directional TV aerial. It's the status one here in the downwards position at the moment. When we get to site, we want to use it. We undo this locking nut. Okay, we push the unit up into the air and then lock it back up into place. Okay, we can then twiddle it around. That will change the plane of the aerial and give us the best signal that we can get. Our booster is sat back here, has an on-off switch on the top there. However, if you just leave that on, it will turn on and off with your main switch there anyway. There we go. Also a gain here, again, I just tend to leave that on maximum. That way it's always sort of pushing out the strongest signal that it can. Not forgetting that when we are finished our holidays and we're driving, we want to make sure we are retracting our aerial down, okay, and locking that into place so we're not taking trees out when we're driving along the road. Okay, skylight here, all right, button to press there, press it, pull down, pull back, and that opens it up. We also have some ratchet bits here so we can open it sort of halfway up or the quarter of the way up just to get some airflow going round. Blinds, fly screens, okay, again it's the same on all the windows, all right. Right, anything that opens will have a fly screen, anything that is just a window will have a blind, so you can fully black it out in here of an evening, of course. Right, let's have a look at our kitchen now. Oh, we do have a coffee table here, okay, that pulls out like so, drops into place, and then to put it back, just lift up and push it back. All right. There's your book packs and everything in that drawer there that we were talking about earlier. So it's got all the instruction manuals, just backs everything up that we're talking about now. Okay. We've talked about our water system, okay. We have a light switch there as well for our downlighter here. When we're travelling, we do want to be making sure that we are leaving all of our glass tops down, okay. That way they're not going to smash basically because this bounces around quite a lot behind the cars, I'm sure you can probably imagine. All right. Nothing really of note in there or in there. Our cooker here is a Thetford cooker, all right. We have these guards here which push down. Again, when we're traveling, make sure this is all the way down, and then before we use it, make sure that this is all the way up. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. 3 gas burners and 1 electric burner there. The electric burner is on this side here. You can see it's on when we have the red light on, okay. Again, that is only functional when we are plugged into our mains power only, all right. Other than that, then you'll have to rely on your gas hobs. Igniter, we know how to light a hob. Turn it on, push it down, ignite. There we go, and that's lit. Again, because I haven't had the gas on yet, it took a little bit of time to light because there was air in the system, so I've purged now the gas system, so when you first start lighting it might take a little bit of time to light, only because we've got to push all the air out of the system there, okay. Again, once we're finished, put it down, close the lid. We have a separate grill, separate oven as well, okay. They light in exactly the same way, all right. Turn, hold down, and press the igniter button there, okay. Okay, right. What we've got here then is our fridge, right? So Thetford 3-way fridge works on gas when we're off grid, works on 240 volt electric when we're plugged into mains. It will also run off the alternator of your car, okay, on a 12 volt system as well to keep the fridge cool when we're traveling. So when we open the fridge, we've got a handle on top, we pull this down, and there we go, in we go. Lovely and cold in here, so we've had this on for a couple of days, just testing everything. Freezer section at the top, we always put a cup of water in just to make sure that's frozen. Yeah, I think we're happy with that. So let's just melt that because that's quite a lot of stuff in there. So this will help test our hot water as well. It gets really hot, so do be careful. All right. So salad crisper in the bottom. There we go. We'll have a look and see how that all operates. Let's just get rid of this ice. There's nice hot water coming out of there now. There we go. Right, so the way this fridge operates then is we have to wake it up. There's our on off button here, as you can see, all right, with the green light there. All right, so that's how we turn it on. This does turn on and off with a separate system to the mains power. All right, so you will have to come and turn this on separately. If we wake the fridge up, you can see it's lit on gas now, okay, and that's our temperature of the gas there. So if we of the fridge there rather than the gas. So if we want to switch that to mains power, we'd press this button, we'd hold it down till it starts flashing. There we go, and then with our arrows we'd move it across to the picture of the plug, press OK. Right, then we want to set our temperature that we can with the fridge. All right, then we press OK, and there we go, that's now lit on electric. All right, and then again press it down, wait till it flashes, move along to the gas, press OK. Set the temperature you want, press OK. Simple as that. If you want to use your fridge when you're travelling, then what you need to do is hold it down, go to the battery setting. That doesn't mean our leisure battery, that means the 12-volt system of the car. Press OK, press OK. All right, it won't actually let us do it. You can see we've got a red light here because I'm not plugged into a tow vehicle. Okay, it won't allow me to do that. So I'm going to turn that back to mains power. There we go. Just bear in mind though, with that 12-volt system, it's enough to keep the fridge cold. It's not enough to actually chill it down. So if you want to use your fridge and you're going on a long journey, I would suggest chilling it down first and then switching it over. So it will maintain the temperature, but it won't chill it down. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Okay, that's kind of that for in here. Let's have a look in our bathroom. Not much to talk about in here really. Okay, we've got a shower, we know how a shower works. All right, your shower door is held back like this at the moment. There we go. Just while we're travelling, okay, make sure that that is nicely and secure. Here's our toilet. Toilet we use in absolutely the normal way, like we would use any other toilet, to be honest with you. Lift it up, this does swivel, all right, depending on how long our legs are. Okay, use the toilet in the normal way, press the flush button once you're finished. You can see then that will flush. Okay, once that's flushed, you then open the gate into the cassette by pressing this that way. Okay, that opens that gate, everything drops down into there, and then we close this. That then creates the seal, stops all the smells coming out. Okay, this was the gate I was talking about, that if you're struggling to get your cassette out, make sure this is all the way over. Okay, that's really important. And again, we want to keep that seal nice there anyway. Indicator here, when that illuminates, that's time to empty your toilet cassette. Don't ignore that, otherwise you'll end up in a bit of a mess. Carpets are in here, okay, for your fan. Lots of drawers underneath there, lots of hanging space. Here's the header tank for your Aldi fluid system. All right, just want to make sure it's in between minimum and maximum, which it is. That will fluctuate as the heating works, all right, as it will expand. So don't panic too much if it gets quite high. Dining table sat in there, all right, removable table for when you are in the in there, all right. Okay, that's pretty much the basics of how it all works. Okay, then what we want to now do is shut the van down. So we've been on holiday, we've had a nice time, all right, and then we will have a look at how it all works. So what I'm going to do is start turning everything off. I'm going to come in here and turn off my lights, turn off my master switch. Okay, I'm then going to come and turn off my fridge because I'm not using this again. Hold that down, there we go. Now what I want to do is drain my water system down. So I need to find those boiler drain valves that we saw earlier. So if I remove these, should have left them out really. Okay, so we've got two of them down here, so we want to open those up. Okay, so you'll hear the water start to drain as we do it. 1 and 2. Okay, so that's all of our water starting to drain down, which is excellent. Then what I'm going to do is come and open my taps. Now we talked about this earlier, we want to leave them open between hot and cold. That way you can hear all the water draining back down through the pipes. Also then, if there is any water trapped in here, if anything freezes and water expands, it's not going to crack our taps, it's not going to crack our micro switches or anything like that. Okay, so that way we are nice and happy that we have kept the van nice. So that's a really important tip really. Always leave the van with air flowing through everything. That way you can't get in trouble. Right, there we go, that's that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go outside and start detaching everything else. Okay, so firstly what we're going to come and do is we're going to come and turn off our gas bottle. So we just twist that down at the top and that is closed that down. Obviously we want to make sure that is doing that is closed when we're travelling. However, this is my test bottle, so I'm going to remove that from the van. Unscrew it, again as I said, on the opposite thread. No need for a spanner. And I'll take this out of the van. Then we're going to disconnect our fresh water. Okay, little trigger underneath, pull that, give it a bit of a wiggle. Okay, there we go, and take that out. Give it a good old shake off. And we're going to put that in the front locker. You'll then empty your aqua roll and stow that away, okay, wherever you choose to do so. Some people put it in the shower, things like that, but you'll come up with your own way of doing things. You then want to empty your waste as well. Now we haven't got that out here at the moment, but your waste comes out from these two flaps here. Okay, so one from your kitchen, one from your bathroom. The waste pipe that we saw in the front locker, okay, will go into your waste master out of both of these and into your waste master. Okay, so basically empty those away, stow away your other bits and pieces as well. Then you want to unplug your van. Now my colleague's already told me he's unplugged it from the mains end first. What you want to make sure is you're not walking around with a live wire, okay? So you always want to do it from the opposite side. So I would normally plug it into my van first and then into my site, and then the other way round when I'm removing it, okay? So that's that. The only thing left to do is have a quick look at the motor mover, so we'll do that now. Okay, just as it starts to rain. What I'm going to do is going to get my drill. Let's get our legs up first. Again, this is a nice easy way of doing it, but just do be careful not to nip them up too tight. There we go. Okay, now that's done, let's have a look at the mover. All right, so you need three things. You need your isolator key, your remote control, and your engaging tool. So we're going to start with this one here. All right, so we extend that. It's a telescopic. Okay, so we open that up. This goes onto this bolt here, and then what we're looking to do is move this roller onto the wheel. Okay, so we're going to lift that up, push it all the way down, keep your fingers out the way. In fact, I need to go back a bit further on that one. Easily done with one hand. See if I can balance that right side. Let me come back and do it again. There we go. All right, so you might need to come back and do that again just to make sure it's all the way on, but you'll hear the clonk and you'll feel it when it does it. All right, so you do want to make sure that is engaged on there properly. Also want to make sure it's engaged on both sides, which it is, so there we go. Then we need to get power to our mover, so we're going to use this red key that goes in here where our power cable was. Press and turn. That's allowing the battery to send power to the mover. Bear in mind though, if you leave that on too long, it will time out. So if you leave it for 5 minutes before using it, you'll find your mover won't work. You'll need to come take the key out, put it back in again, and say it will time out. All right. Then we're going to turn on our handset by pressing the two green buttons. There we go. So we've got a green light. We're happy with that. Once we've done that, we're in a position to take off our handbrake. What we don't want to do is take our handbrake off before we've engaged our mover. The reason for that is otherwise you'll be catching your caravan down the site. All right, that's now held on the mover. So don't take your handbrake off until it's engaged. Then I'm going to turn my handset around. You can see I've got the nice shape of a caravan there, so we know which way is forward. So I press forward, and there she goes. Always moving around the van, making sure that we're not going to hit anything, run anybody over or anything like that. I mean, it's not going to break any land speed records, but really useful tool. And it will pretty much turn on its own axis. Again, bit of practice is always good. But there we go, really, really good tool. Then once we finish with that, what we do first thing is we're going to put our handbrake on, okay, for the same reason. Once we disengage our mover, we don't want the caravan careering off down the road. All right, so then I'll take my key out as well. There we go. And then we'll just disengage the mover here. So we just go the opposite way to the way we put it on. Again, let's see if I can lay this up so we can see what we're doing. So you put it on, it will go with a bit of a clonk. There we go. Again, just make sure it's all the way off. There we go. So that is that. And that is how our mover works. Obviously turning off our handset as well. There we go. You'll find these, we'll leave these in the doorway here. Okay, so you know where they are. But that's how it all works really. Again, you know, we're here on pickup. If you've got any questions, we'll go through hitching up with you. And everything's backed up in the handbooks as well. So thanks for watching and enjoy your new caravan.